Hello, Merle Mustangs and Callaway Chargers. This is Bob Lewis. We're here in Glen Allen, Virginia, where Marianne and I have lived for 21 years, and we've been in Virginia since 1975. I've been a hospital chaplain and then served three churches. I retired in 2010 and have done three interims since that time. I promise you today you will not get 3 points and a sermon. I met my wife Marianne at Samford. She knows many of you because she's accompanied me with most of the reunions that we've been to through the years, and she knows of my love and deep appreciation for those years in Jackson and the cherished friends from school age that I still have to this day. Marianne retired teaching Spanish after 25 years. We have two children. Scott lives in Petersburg and works in the insurance industry. And our daughter Annie lives in Naples, Florida, and has her own educational consulting business and has given us our two lovely granddaughters. I guess you consider I'm one of those that got away. I'm thinking of others that went to school with us for a while but didn't graduate. Danny Ketchum, George Winston, Janet Merrill McMurray. I only made it through our sophomore year when my father decided to change jobs and left Standard Life Insurance and moved us kicking and screaming to Decatur, Alabama, where I finished high school. So a lot of my memories of that time are from our formative years and things about Jackson in particular and Murrah specifically. Jackson was just a great place to grow up during the 50s and 60s. We had great parks, wonderful restaurants, and one of my favorite memories are the years I spent playing Little League Baseball at the wonderful Lakeland Drive complex. I remember giving up more than one home run to future baseball star Bobby Croswell off of my less than blazing fastball. I also remember playing in the All-Star game and hitting one out of the park but just barely foul off of Buddy Bartling, only to strike out on the next pitch. We've had videos already of people that have distinguished themselves in journalism and the arts and sports. I guess my claim to fame in sports ended with Little League. And one of the main reasons was I was among those of our class that were very late bloomers. When I started our sophomore year in high school, I was 5'2" and weighed just over 100 pounds. And that's why I like to say I enjoy going back to our reunions because I'm finally taller than the girls I dated. We had some great expectations of Murrah, and one of my disappointments was being selected to be a part of the Murrah Singers and yet never got to sing with the group. But when we got to Murrah, Murrah was only 10 years old but already had quite a reputation for academic excellence and everything else that went with it, thanks to the founding principal, Dr. Howard Cleland, and Principal James Merritt, who followed, and a dedicated faculty. The faculty's reputation preceded them, so much so that 5 of us guys formed a carpool and drove across town to Provine to take world history in the summer of '64 so we would avoid having Mrs. Hazel Ruff, whose name befitted her. Couple of memories about our sophomore year. You've heard Mr. Merritt say that the upstairs boys' restroom had quite the reputation. It was known as the Head. You also know that sophomores were not held in very high regard at Murrah, so I avoided that hallway with everything in me. But one morning in first period general chorus with Karen Guilfoy, who seemed to always be in a less than cheerful mood early in the morning, caught me talking with David Trewalla next to me, and she calls out, "Quiet, sophomore." And Connor McAllister, a senior, looked around and said, "Who's a sophomore?" I wanted to disappear under the risers. Then there was biology class with Mrs. Ruth Davis. I was not one of her star pupils, but we had one thing in common. We were lifetime fans of the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team. And that fall, if you remember, the Cardinals were playing the Yankees in the World Series. Miss Davis came in one day to class, her radio in hand, and said, "We're not studying biology today. We're listening to the St. Louis Cardinals baseball World Series game." I loved her for that, and she was a great teacher. One final story. Sixth grade, last period, was in the prefab room that was just outside the cafeteria. And I had Ms. Mildred Hust for world literature. On that day, John Owens, may he rest in peace, fell asleep. The bell rang, and Miss Hust put her finger to her mouth to shush us. And she went to the board and wrote, "Good night, John. Turn off the lights when you awake." John never told us when he awoke. Well, in closing, in the immortal words of Principal Merritt, may I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Make sure you make your plans to attend the 50th reunion of the Murrah Callaway class of '67, June 9th through 11th, to renew old friendships, and I look forward to meeting some of you that I never got to know in that 1 year at Murrah. And in the words of former Channel 12 sportscaster Augie File, and since you were, thanks for watching.